Okay, going on to item 6, the National Public Safety Broadband Network update. Michael.
Okay, thank you, co-chairs and committee members. Just going to give you a short update on Arizona FirstNet program and what's going on nationally at FirstNet. Within our program, we're working to complete an RFP to the State Procurement Office for getting meeting management services, since we're doing so many meetings under the Arizona FirstNet program, upwards of 75 or so. We didn't want to overload the PSIC office in trying to keep up with just the mechanics and logistics of that. So we're under separate funding, we're putting together a team to manage the meetings themselves. We're working to post project manager and project administrator positions and developing content for our education and outreach meetings, tuned and tailored to whether it's a large county meeting or whether it's a local meeting or whether it's an association or agency meeting. We started off our education outreach efforts with the regional wireless system boards. We've met with the RWC. David Felix invited us to speak at the regional administrators meeting on December 9th, and PC-WIN, we were able to speak at the board meeting. Upcoming, we've got Topaz, or TRWC, and then the YRCS board meeting. Another upcoming event is the coverage workshop. This is a technical assistance offering from Department of Homeland Security. The SPAWAR group out of San Diego has put together a broadband coverage workshop that they're providing to each and every state. And they've done a lot of work in terms of defining, basically putting up a straw man in terms of what coverage would look like in Arizona and down to each county level with each agency involved and all the community anchor institutions that are involved, just to get the conversation going, okay? It's not to say that they've come up with a solution, here it is, take it or leave it. It's basically to get things on paper in GIS and map form so that local jurisdictions can have the ability to react to that and say, yeah, that's good, or no, that's not going to work for us. So this workshop will be held on the 31st, and we've got some more details later. The agenda basically is to introduce the concepts, talk about what 4G LTE can do and can't do, and then talk about coverage in local jurisdictions. And then we'll also have a session at the end about discussing what are the eligible users. I mean, is it SAR teams? Is it utilities? People? What agencies locally normally work with on a regular basis and get their input and get that documented. Also, we're working on county kickoff meetings. We've shifted a little bit. We were hoping to start in January, but the holidays set us back. We're planning on doing co-chiefs in Santa Cruz in February, and already started conversations with Pinal. And basically, once we get those more firmed up, we'll have a more defined schedule. Also, while we're in these meetings, we're going to be doing not only education and outreach, providing information, but we're going to be collecting information, and so we've got to document how that's going to happen and get those processes in place. Another thing that came up was during the working with the Public Safety Broadband Network Working Group, many of them, for instance, Bob Hollister or Jay Vargo, are asking me for material to present to a fire chiefs meeting that's local. So we need to figure out a way to document that kind of outreach that's going on, that's not just from this office, but also heading to the local level as well. All right, at the national level, the FirstNet had their board meeting, I think it was in December. They voted to approve Adams County, Colorado, and New Jersey. These were the original waiver recipients, then BTOP grantees. So the early builders, the early developers. So we have LA Ricks out of California, New Mexico, Adams County, Colorado, and New Jersey are the four that are on board. And then Texas, they're still working on, even though Texas is actual up and running for the LTE system in Harris County, they haven't got a license agreement yet, so they're still working on that. They've closed discussion with San Francisco's Bayricks project and Mississippi, which is kind of a stunner. San Francisco's Bayricks was really through Motorola. Motorola had invested $40 million into the effort, and it's basically shut down at this point. Mississippi likewise developed a statewide system of microwave backhaul, and now they've got nothing to put on the front end of that in terms of wireless connection to that backhaul.
Michael, so, as the discussions are closed, they're done?
They're done.
Bayricks is folded at this point?
And they're figuring out how to fold it gracefully. Okay. And same with Mississippi. Agreed. FirstNet board approved charters for their various and sundry working group and committees. This may seem innocuous, but it is a good first step in terms of getting these teams up and in place, and so they're moving ahead on that. And then through a series of presentations given to the Public Safety Advisory Council, Justin at the NPSBN meeting, they gave a presentation that had this information in it, and then most recently to the state points of contact. FirstNet is starting to define criteria which states need to define the readiness for states to start state consultations. A lot of this is pretty straightforward. Is the governance body in place? Yes, we have the PSCC as the governance body. We could give them date and time anytime they want it. Formal relationships documented with tribes. We don't know what that means yet. We'll have to start working on that. We have, two occasions, two separate communications, reached out to the tribal communities, and we have received points of contact information from some of them. We'll just have to keep at that until we get a full list, if possible. Are the agencies identified? Yes, we've got the list of agencies. Secondary users, that's part of our education and outreach to confirm and get local feedback on that. Key stakeholders with assets, that'll be part of the data collection in phase 2. And then on the education outreach, have we got a plan? Yes, we do. They distinguish between large metro and rural contact lists. We're not distinguishing, we're just doing agency contact lists. And likewise, even within the tribes, we're trying to make it agency level rather than tribal level. I mean, to me, it's, if you're doing mutual aid, you're doing it between fire departments, not, So, email list, we'll be developing those, and then calendar of existing public safety association meetings, we need to work on that. We don't have a good list right now. All right, next steps will be we're speaking at the TRWC on Thursday, and then next week we'll be at YRCS, and then we'll have the OEC coverage workshop on the 31st. And all are invited, okay? We put the invite out to the working group and the emergency managers for each county, but it's basically an open meeting for those who are interested. But let me know, please, so we know how many people will be showing up. All right, any questions? Thank you very much.
Thanks. So the meeting
Sure.
is here?
Yeah, the meeting is in 300. 8008 300, this week.
Okay. Since I think we're at 300.